My name is John Passfield, and the title of this reading will be The Mammoth Cheese, Video 10, The Great Poems of Our Lives. This is my novel, James McIntyre, The Mammoth Cheese. There's a picture, historical, of the Mammoth Cheese of Ingersoll, Ontario. Here's a summary on the back of the novel. With a contribution of 800 cows, the tiny village of Ingersoll, Ontario has not only produced the world's largest block of cheese, it has also nurtured the epic poet who can rapturously sing its praises. Now, if only Queen Victoria can be persuaded to take a hearty bite and add her majestic voice to the poet's ecstatic hymns of praise, the Mammoth Cheese will become the edible jewel in the crown of the globe-girdling British Empire. Well, 1866 for the British Empire when it was globe-girdling. In this video, I'm going to read the great poems which the mind of the main character, James McIntyre, interlayers with the other significant imagery of his life as he attempts to understand the experience through which he is living, as the Mammoth Cheese is taken to various cities to be exhibited. There are 7 great poems which are remembered by James McIntyre in the novel. The poems are not named in the text of the novel, so see if you can recognize the authors. Well, here's the first one, page 13. So these are poems that just run through his mind like a popular song and comment on the events of his life. Here's the first one. When that April, with his surest suit, the drought of March had pierced to the root, and bathed every vein in such liqueur, of which virtue engendered is the flower, when Zephyrus eke with his sweet breath, in spirit hath in every holt and heath, the tenderer crops and the young sun hath in the ram his half course he run, and making fowlers, making melody, that sleeping all the night with open ye, so pricketh him nature in her courages, then longing folk to go on pilgrimages. Well, that's medieval English. That's the way our ancestors would have sounded, pronouncing a lot of these words that we pronounced quite differently today. Okay, so who would that be? Some changes in life. A pilgrimage is a person going on a pilgrimage sees a divide in life between up till now and the future. Sees himself as making changes in his life. That's why that poem is running through the mind of James McIntyre. Geoffrey Chaucer is the author of that poem. Okay, page 29 is the next one I will read. Here it is. The author will be a mystery again. How soon hath time, that subtle thief of youth, stolen on his wing my 23 year? My hasting days fly on with full career, but my late spring no bud or blossom showeth. Perhaps my semblance might deceive the truth that I to manhood am arrived so near. And inward ripeness doth much less appear that some more timely happy spirits induce. Yet, be it less or more, or soon or slow, it shall be still in strictest measure, even to that same lot, however mean or high, toward which time leads me, and the will of heaven. All is, if I have grace to use it so, as ever in great taskmaster's eye. So, a poem, a boy of 23, thinking, oh, time is moving quickly, but I'm not. I'm hardly getting anything done here. And I should get busy and get going with the rest of my life. So that kind of poem resonates with James McIntyre concerning his own life. Milton. Okay, that was Milton. Okay, let's go on with the next one, page 45. And here we are. So these poems just run through his mind, as I say, like a popular song, which I'll mention in a minute, in a note, commenting on the activities of his life. And Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Elf, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man down to a sunless sea. So, twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round, and here were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree. And here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. Well, we all have perhaps in our mind an image of the perfect place we'd like to be. If we're on a journey through life, making changes as we go, having things happen to us and responding to them, where are we trying to get to? Well, somewhere better, eh? So he images it in the words of this poem by Coleridge, okay? Coleridge. Okay, now another one on page 61. Whoops, where am I here? 63, 62, 61. Okay, couldn't get the pages apart. Another poem then that seems to indicate something about his own life. There was a sound of revelry by night, and Belgium's capital had gathered in her beauty and her chivalry, and bright the lights shone o'er fair women and brave men. 1,000 hearts beat happily, and when music arose with its voluptuous swell, soft eyes looked love to eyes which spake again, and all went merry as a marriage bell. But, hush, hark, a deep sound strikes like a rising knell. So, the good times are here. He images that in the image of the fancy dress ball on the eve of what turns out to be the Battle of Waterloo. The good times are here, but what's over the horizon? Something a little more ominous, something a little more negative perhaps, eh? The good times don't always last. And that is a poem by Lord Byron. Okay, another one, page 76. Another poem that resonates with the life of the man who's doing the thinking in this novel. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore, ye soft pipes, play on, not to the sensual ear, but, more endured, pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. Fair youth, beneath the trees thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss, though winning near the goal, yet do not grieve. She cannot fade, though thou hast not thy bliss. Forever wilt thou love, and she be fair. So, gains and losses, but also some compensation. Sometimes when we have something and lose it, we regret the loss, but we realize, well, something lingers. There's a compensation, and that's a poem by John Keats that echoes in the mind of the main character, James McIntyre. Here's another one, page 91. Here it is. Another poem. A layer of thought in the mind, a layer of imagery in the mind, interacting with all of the other things in the mind of the main character. Excuse me again. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that a sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. So what am I building, and will it last? Is it worth the effort? And once it is built, will I get any credit for it, I guess you'd say. What will time do to all the things that I think are so important now? That's a poem by Shelley. Okay. So one more then, 107. One more poem of images that resonate with the mind and the experiences of James McIntyre. When to the sessions of sweet, silent thought, I summon up remembrance of things past. I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes, new wail my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye, unused to flow, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to war tell o'er the sad account of forebemoaned moan, which I knew pay, as if not paid before. But, yet the while, I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end. So, piles, tons of problems in a life, but maybe there's something that just makes it all worthwhile, something or some person that kind of balances out all the negatives in life. And that's a poem by William Shakespeare. So, it's often said that we humans, in an age of radio, television, and recording, have a musical soundtrack which accompanies our lives. Movies often use the technique of presenting the songs from a particular decade or era in order to create a surround of sound for a story which is set at that time. It's also true, I believe, that we not only have music in our lives, but we also have the great poems of our lives. It's very common, for instance, to have significant poems read at weddings and at funerals. Ecclesiastes comes to mind. To everything, there's a season and a time and a purpose under the heaven. Time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Excuse me again. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. Okay, next page here. Continuing on with Ecclesiastes. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend, tear or rip, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Well, at what time in one's life would that poem not have an echo with the experiences that one is undergoing? Here's another one, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So the assurance that things are all right, despite the fact that they might not seem so. So these are poems that accompany our lives and find echoes in the experiences of our lives. For those of us who've grown up with literature, having read it in elementary school and high school, at university and on our own for sheer enjoyment, there are certain poems that not only stick in the mind, but seem to be significant poems in terms of the various stages that we've gone through as we have lived our lives. So it seems quite appropriate for me, the author of this novel, to choose a number of poems that the main character of this novel, James McIntyre, would think about as he makes his way through his experiences. The experience of the quest in particular to win awards that are intended to set up the journey of the Mammoth cheese to England. So that's the main plot of this novel. An interesting question as I read over the novel is as to whether the main character, who is also, of course, a poet, considers whether the quality of his own verse matches the quality of the great poems that he has memorized. I suppose a subsidiary question would be as to whether the quality of the poems would be the most important thing in his comparison of these two bodies of work. Is it possible that there's some other element that would appeal to him in measuring the value of his own and other people's poetry, other than the standard of greatness of those poems? Well, here then again is the novel. I'll just hold it up again. James McIntyre, The Mammoth Cheese. There's more information at Amazon where it can be purchased and read about. My publisher's website is rocksmillspress.com, rocksmillspress.com, all small letters, all one word. johnpassfield.ca, again small letters, all one word, johnpassfield.ca, has more information in the form of 2 free books. You can download them, you can read them. My planning notebook, wherein I plan and write the novel. My journal, wherein I reflect on the novel as I'm polishing it. 2 free books, just for pressing the icon. Lastly, I'll say thank you for watching this video.